My name's Eric. I'm a digital nomad living in my Subaru Forester as I travel around the country. And today I'm spending Thanksgiving at Zion National Park.
Regular days would turn into never-ending weekends, ordinary way. No, see when it comes low, you plus me up, ripple effect, one dreaming architect.
All right, well, I'm standing at the world famous Four Corners. This is where four states, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah all meet up in one place. I'm technically in Arizona because that is where I'm headed next. I'm headed into Monument Valley, and I'm actually going to go back to the Grand Canyon. It's been a couple of years since I've been there, and why not spend Thanksgiving at the Grand Canyon, right?
Can't get enough of this, being with you is like never-ending sunshine.
All right, well, I'm at Goosenecks State Park, and I've actually been here before. I was here almost exactly 4 years ago, September 2020, and I had no idea that I would actually be here today. This is a total fluke. I was driving down the street, and I saw the sign for it, and I was like, oh, I've been to Goosenecks State Park. How far is it exactly? And I looked it up, and it said it was only 6 miles, and I was like, yeah, I'll go back to Goosenecks, why not? So I slept like maybe 3 miles from the Four Corners last night. So I literally had 4 different states directions I could have chosen my path this morning. I could have gone back into New Mexico. I could have gone up into Colorado. I could have gone into Utah. I could have gone into Arizona. But I am headed to the Grand Canyon. And before going to the Grand Canyon, I'm actually going to be stopping at Monument Valley. So I decided, well, I could either go into Arizona or go north a little bit into Utah. It was literally the same amount of distance. So yeah, so pretty cool. I'm actually back here seeing this, and I'm actually going to go back to the point where Forrest Gump ends his famous run. That is just down the street. I'll go back to Mexican Hat. That's this really cool rock formation. That's just down the street. So kind of cool. Kind of taking a little trip down memory lane for me. Seeing all these places that I haven't seen in a really long time. I just absolutely love this side of the country. Like, there's nothing out here. It's absolutely so desolate. There's no towns. There's no nothing. It's just these really cool rock formations. Just this really cool landscape. And if you've never been out here, seriously, come out here sometime. This is probably one of the cheapest vacations you'll ever take in your entire life. And it's awe-inspiring. It's something you're going to remember for the rest of your life. I guarantee it. You just see places like this over and over and over again. It's just amazing. But yeah, love it. So I'm gonna check this out for a little bit and then get down the street and see where Forrest Gump ends his run and Mexican Hat rock formation. Well, this is Mexican Hat, and well, it looks just like that. It looks like a Mexican hat. It's just this really cool balanced rock formation that someday will actually fall, and this will no longer cease to exist. It's kind of one of those things in life, you just kind of take advantage to see it when you can. It was literally right down the street from where I just was, so why not? And then I didn't know you can, but as I got here, I noticed some people trekking up there. You can't get to the very top with that rope, but yeah, see, there's a trail going up there. I don't feel like doing that kind of incline right now, but you can, so kind of cool. I'm at the legendary spot where Forrest Gump ended his run. And as you can see behind me is a very, very popular spot. Everybody wants to take pictures in the middle of the road, just like me. And this is another spot I happened to be at in 2020. And there used to be a sign over there where my car is parked that said Forrest Gump ended his run here. And I signed it, and I was hoping that that sign was still there and that I could maybe re-sign it again next to my old signature 4 years ago. But no, that sign doesn't exist anymore. I asked one of the locals who are setting up a little shop down there and selling some jewelry. I said, does that sign still exist? He's like, nah. He said either it blew away in the wind or someone stole it. So that did not sound good. But off in the distance is Monument Valley, and that's where I'm headed next. This is the legendary Monument Valley. You see out the window there. This has been in so many iconic Western films. This was in Back to the Future 3. This was in so many John Wayne movies. Basically, if the movie was supposed to depict the West, you've seen this shot before. So yeah, it's just absolutely a beautiful, amazing place. This is private land. This is Navajo land. So expect to pay $8 if you ever come here, which is absolutely, totally 100% reasonable, but it's just not part of the national park system. So if you come out here with your national park pass, don't expect to use it. So it's basically a bumpy road that goes for 15 miles around in a big loop. And while it is a bumpy road, any car can do this, honestly. I've seen plenty of cars out here. I actually saw a Mustang out here. I saw some minivans out here. So you really don't need high ground clearance or anything. I personally was taking it a little slow because I have so many things in the car that it was just kind of bouncing around a lot. Everything was just shaking around a lot. So I was going a little slow over it, but it's really not a problem. Any car could come out here if you want to come out here sometime. If you do come out here and you want to, though, you can take a tour. There was plenty of tours around the area that for about $70 to $85 is the prices I saw. Looks like they would take you out here. And they were like 2.5-hour tours. You probably would learn a lot more on some of those tours, like how these rock formations were formed. And they probably would name a bunch of famous movie sets that have been filmed out here and everything. But I don't have the money for that, so I'm just going the basic route. So for $8, you can come out here and enjoy it. And it's amazing. So I don't know if the microphone on this cell phone is going to pick it up very well at all, but it is 20-mile-per-hour wind sustained and 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts. It is very, very windy outside. It's been like that all afternoon. The car is shaking like this. And I'm parked on basically just some BLM somewhere outside this little small town. And so it's just a dirt lot. And so a lot of just loose dirt and stuff on the ground is hitting the side of the car a lot. And there's a tree about 15 feet away or so that it's blowing so much in the wind that it's setting off my motion lights on the side of the car, so they keep going off. But yeah, the car is shaking like this. I can hear the wind crazy. I can hear a little bit of just dirt and stuff like that outside hitting the car. So not really going to be the quietest night's sleep, that's for sure.
Standing in your presence now, torn apart and broken down, even still.
All right, well, small change of plans. So last night I slept just outside of Monument Valley in northern Arizona at a small town called Kayenta. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I did have a job due for a client that was due. It's technically not due till tomorrow, but I wanted to get it done today. That town is so small that all the places that had Wi-Fi were not very good. I went to McDonald's, I went to a hotel lobby to see if they had good Wi-Fi. There's a Starbucks in town. Burger King had Wi-Fi. None of them had very good, reliable internet. So I had to go online and see where the next big town was or decent place that had internet. And that was Page, Arizona. And that was an hour and a half out of my way. Originally, I planned to go to the Grand Canyon for Thanksgiving, and that would have been tomorrow. And that would have been about 2.5 hours from where I slept last night. However, coming up to Page put me a good hour and a half out of my way. So as I got up here to Page, I got my work done, and then I decided, okay, well, I guess let me look at the map and see how far it is to get to the Grand Canyon. As I looked at that, I also decided to look at a map and see how far Zion National Park is. And Zion National Park is only an hour and a half from me, and Grand Canyon is 2.5 hours from me. So I'm going to Zion National Park for Thanksgiving.
Standing
I'm in the park now. It's Thanksgiving morning. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. It was a chilly one this morning. It was 21 degrees when I woke up. But I'm in the park and I'm about to take the scenic drive from the east end of the park to the west end of the park. And this is seriously one of the most iconic scenic drives ever, from what I remember. I did it 4 years ago. So I'm gonna try my best to capture on film, but it's seriously one of those things that I think you're just gonna have to come here sometime and experience for yourself. But I'm gonna try to capture it for you. I have been, no joke, circling this parking lot at the visitor center for at least 12 or 13 minutes now. It is so packed. This park is such a busy park. You have to be here at 7 a.m. It is 9:30 and this parking lot is jam-packed. All the cars are just swirling around like vultures, literally through the parking lot, just trying to hopefully find someone who's leaving. Yeah, this is just such an incredibly busy park. If you come here, get here early. So I don't know if it'll come out, but this is the line to get on the bus that you have to take to get into the canyon. Like Disney World. Oh my God, we better go to Disney World for Thanksgiving. Jeez, still going. All right, well, 45 minutes to get on that shuttle. Yeah, so I did zero planning before I got here. I literally yesterday, I just looked at a map, saw that Zion was an hour and a half roughly away from me. So I was like, I'll just go back to Zion. So I knew that you had to take a shuttle to get into the scenic drive part, the canyon part, which is all the stuff around me, which is where all the hikes are. I knew that you couldn't just take your car down there. The last time I was here was 4 years ago, and there's just a ton of COVID restrictions still. Like you had to have a reservation to get on the bus. Now you don't have to have a reservation. It's just first come, first serve. But just know that this is probably one of the busiest parks in all of the country. I'm willing to bet that probably this is numbered like 2 or 3 right behind places like Yellowstone, maybe Yosemite, I don't know. But this is an incredibly busy park. So try to get here early. Try to get one of those parking spaces at the visitor center. Or here's a tip, I would actually just stay at the campground. Stay at the Watchman campground. It's roughly $35 a night probably. I don't know, I honestly didn't look it up. Last time I stayed there was 4 years ago. So sorry, I didn't look it up this time. If you do that, then you can leave your car at the campsite, get up early and walk over to the visitor center and catch a shuttle. You'd probably be one of the first people in the park to catch a shuttle into the trails. So that would be really a good idea. Or you can stay at one of the hotels in the town of Springdale, which is the next town over. In fact, it's not even a next town. It's literally on the boundaries of the park. If you stayed at one of the hotels there and got up, you'd be walking distance to the entrance. So that's another option you can do if you're looking to come here. But yeah, just plan on crowds. Plan on a lot of crowds. This is the Sand Bench Trail. So Zion National Park is famous for a very notorious hike, and it's called Angel's Landing. And it's a place where the edges going up to this peak are so narrow that they have bolted in chains into the rocks for you to hang on to, because if you fall, it's like 1,000 feet straight to the bottom onto rocks. Last time I was here, I really wanted to do Angel's Landing. So last time I was here was fall of 2020, and they had some COVID restrictions around doing Angel's Landing hike. You couldn't actually take the chain section. You could do the part that goes up to that part, and you can go up to a place called Scouts Landing, but you couldn't actually hike the chain section. It was closed. So I always said I always wanted to come back here and do Angel's Landing. Well, nowadays it's a permit. You have to enter into a lottery, and then they only let so many people for the day go up to Angel's Landing. So I put my name into the lottery for tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not. They don't let anybody know till 4 o'clock this afternoon, so I still got like 2 or 3 hours. But yeah, we'll see. I might be hiking Angel's Landing tomorrow. All right, for Thanksgiving dinner, I got stuffing and ground turkey with some vegetables, green beans, sweet potatoes, and peppers. That's what I have. All right, so yesterday was Thanksgiving, and on Thanksgiving Day, I put my name into the Angel's Landing lottery to try to do that hike at Zion, but I didn't get picked, unfortunately. However, the lottery opens up at 12:01 a.m. for the following day. So last night, Thanksgiving night, I stayed up to midnight. At 12:01, I got right onto the recreation.org app. I put my name into the lottery, hoping that I'd be literally one of the first people to get into the lottery, and it worked. So tomorrow, I am doing Angel's Landing hike. The next time you see me on camera might be about 1,000 feet up in the air at Angel's Landing. All right, that's where I'm headed. Finally made it. I'm almost a mile into the hike. It's only a 2.5 mile hike up, so it's not a very, very far hike. It's just that it's pretty steep the entire time. It's 1,800 feet elevation gain over a very short distance. So I'm a little winded as I'm just going up the whole time. So I'm just gonna pace myself. It's super early. When you get to the top though, at Angel's Landing, that itself, I think the sign said 1,400 feet just in its own. So I'm only climbing 400 feet before that. So it took me exactly an hour to get from the line to get into the entrance station, to park, get on the shuttle, and get to the trailhead here. And if you come here, just know that the shuttle only stops at certain stops. You can't take your car onto the scenic drive. You have to take a shuttle. For whatever reason, certain days, the shuttle stops at certain stops. Like today, it didn't go to stops 2 or 3. It started at stop 4, and it goes to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 stops altogether. And the other day on Thanksgiving, it didn't do stops 2, 3, and 4. It just started at stop 5. Stop 1 is where at the visitor center. That's where the shuttle starts. So you have to get a shuttle at stop 1 and start to take the shuttle into the scenic drive, into the canyon. Just know that if you come here, you do really have to do some planning, and you have to get a permit, like I said. To a ranger who said the shuttle actually stops at certain times of the year. So she said 2 days from now. So again, this is the end of November. She said at the end, I guess the 1st of December, that you can actually drive up the scenic drive, and then it'll pick up during the holidays, she said again. So didn't know that. Thought you had to take their shuttle no matter what. Not the worst part of the hike. These are the switchbacks. It just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I think there's a dozen of them, and they are steep. All right, so not that bad. It only took me 53 minutes to get up here. Much quicker than I thought. I don't know why. I feel like last time it took me like 2 hours to come up here, but maybe I'm wrong. That was 4 years ago, so I don't remember. So the switchbacks are actually not as bad as I remember them being. I remember there being a lot of them and, you know, just being a steady incline, but they're really short and they taper as they get up. So they get shorter and shorter. So they're really not that bad. And when you get to the top of the switchbacks, you're at the Angel's Landing point. The chain section is right in front of me. I'll turn around. The sun's gonna be bad. That's the Angel's Landing point right there. But behind me is Scout's Landing, and you can, if you don't have a ticket for Angel's Landing, the chain section right there, you can go behind me and you can go to the Scout's Landing, and that's all free. Not a bad hike at all. It is up the entire time, but it's really not that bad. And you're rewarded this. That's where I'm headed, Angel's Landing, right there. So, made it to the top. Was actually not that bad. Pictures and video that you've seen probably before make it look like it's very, very steep and narrow. It is steep. It's just not as narrow as all the pictures and video that I've seen before. Pretty steep at times. You definitely use the chains to like kind of hoist yourself up. I brought my gloves because I had read online that the chains get very cold at cold temperatures, and that was pretty true. I took them off for a second and touched the chain. They were pretty cold, so I'm glad I had these. Came in pretty handy, and it's windy up here, so I packed a jacket here. But really, it was a pretty doable hike, I think, for anybody. Probably the biggest thing is, like, if you have a fear of heights, you're not gonna like this hike at all. There's a few times, maybe like 2 or 3 times, where you look down and it does go straight down, but you know, you're not gonna fall unless you're doing something incredibly stupid, like taking a selfie and backing up and not holding on to anything. That's how people fall here. Really, it's a pretty doable hike, technical hike, and steep. You have to like hoist yourself up at times. Like I said, I still have to go down, so that is the other part. Going down on steep parts is usually harder than going up on steep parts. Shouldn't be bad. I'm actually gonna when I get down, I'll actually go to Scout's Landing, which is the other part up here that you don't have to have a permit for. So right now I'm just taking in the view, having a snack. So that's Angel's Landing. That's what I just hiked up. And this is some of the pictures and videos that you see that make it look like it's such a dangerous hike. But in reality, most of that is several feet wide. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and just end my video here. Hopefully this video gave you a little bit of insight to what to expect from a park like Zion. It's an incredibly popular park, so Always do your research before you come to any national park, but especially a really busy one like this. And things change all the time in these places. Weather plays a huge part of it. One of the trails were actually down because I think a giant boulder or something like that had fallen on it. So, things change all the time in these places. So always do your research before you come here. Zion is a beautiful place. I think you should absolutely come here at least once in your life if you've never been. Angel's Landing by far is one of my favorite hikes I've ever done. It might actually be my favorite hike I've ever done. It was a really, really fun hike. I really liked it. Something totally unique and different. Aside from that, however, personally, Zion is just not my favorite. It's just so busy and you have to do so much planning and just get here so early to even find a place to park your car. So for those kind of reasons, it's not personally my favorite. I come to these places to escape crowds, not to really be in the midst of them. But that's just how it is sometimes. From here, I am gonna head south and go back to the Grand Canyon. It's been 4 years since I've been there, so why not, But as always, I wanna thank you for escaping normal life with me. I just want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who has watched my content, liked my content, and shared my content. It absolutely means the world to me when I see positive feedback in the comments section. It really does. It's why I'm out here. I really hope I've inspired you, whether it's either live the nomad lifestyle full-time or just visit a place for a few days. I hope I've given you some helpful tips and advice to doing whatever you like to do when it comes to travel. But I'd really like to take this moment to say a very special thank you to some people who left me some super thanks. Joe Campo, 1770, Always Adventure Awaits, Mary TJ5QX, MF Hairstream, 6812, Teresa J. Gregory, Chuck Trow, 8577, TX Tank, and Emily Moratea, 5369. Your super thanks have been super amazing and I super appreciate them. They help me so much. I just can't even put into words how thankful I am for them, really. Again, just liking and sharing the content really does help the channel grow. It helps me grow. It helps get this into more people's eyes on YouTube. So again, thank you.